All right. Just going to jump right in and announce that we're starting the fly box contest for another online fundraiser where you're going to enter your fly selection and we'll raffle it off. And the box that brings in the most money will get a $25 gift certificate. If you don't know how to take a photograph of your box and get the photo to me, and you want to have it as a nice professional type of photo, mail your box to me. You can email me for information. I just need to have the box by March 30th so we can start the contest April 1st and end it on April 15th. So far, we got two collections. One of them is Jerry Duffy's shads, and I put a box together that has about 60 flies in there too. All right. So, any questions on the fly box?
They need to be in by the 30th.
Exactly, because I gotta get everything set up so that we could put the contest up online, like we did the other stuff, like we did the other online raffle.
So if we send you our flies, do you promise to send them back?
I'll send them to the person that wins it. All right. Our upcoming speakers. April 8th, Tim Flagler is going to do Euro nymphing without breaking the bank. He kind of snuck up on me, didn't know that he was already scheduled. Somebody didn't give me the information that he was booked with us already. So when he dropped me an email, I said I'd move him into position. So he's going to do Euro nymphing without breaking the bank. We all know Tim as well known for his fly tying videos throughout the world. He's a columnist on Fly Tire magazine. So he's going to present Euro nymphing, basics to advanced techniques, and cover how to get started by converting your standard trout rod from a 9-foot 5-weight to a functional Euro nymphing setup. Multiple steps and take after that to produce an advanced outfit. So this is one of the few programs that we haven't had him for, so I jumped on this to get him back in. And it's a great opportunity to learn how to Euro nymph with the current equipment so you don't have to create a GoFundMe account to buy new equipment. So May 13th, I'm going to do something on panfish. Go over the equipment, which is basically your trout equipment. Might want to scale it down a bit. I'll talk about that, places to find them, and different flies, and just go right into places in your own backyard. June 10th will be our outdoor. We'll do this outdoors at Churchville Nature Center since we will be allowed to meet outdoors. It should be warmer by then. And we got an expert, Jeffrey. Jeff is going to do it on spay casting. He's going to go over how to spay cast, show the physics of line tension in the cast, and this would be for single-handed and double rod spay fishing. So anyone that has a single-handed trout rod can do spay casting, dispelling the myth that you don't need a double-handed rod. And once again, you don't need a GoFundMe account to go buy new equipment. Our Mink Pond Club trip, the registration right now, Mink Pond is May 1st and 2nd. Tony Cucciara has set this up. It's been in the newsletter for a couple of months now. $150 a person. He's only doing eight people max. There's only 3 spots left. 5 are already signed up. And it's a May 1st, 9 a.m. And you'll depart May 2nd at 4 p.m. And that will be...
Jerry, I have a question. If we don't get all 8, does it get canceled, or we're still
No,
going to
go? It won't get canceled.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's he only could fit 8. 5 people said they're going, and Tony graciously set this up. This works out great. He's going to set up another one for in the summer or fall for bass fishing on the pond there. Right now, this is the creek the little bushkill goes through, and they stock it with monster trout. So, and I think this is a once in a blue moon chance to get up there and fish this club. Fritz, you want to go over the trips and trips right now?
Okay, so we got the club outings for March. We'll be at McMichael's Creek, Hickory Valley Park. I was up there today. It wasn't very good fishing wise. The stream was awesome. Good water, clear. They haven't stocked it yet, but they're supposed to be stocking on Tuesday. So hopefully we'll see some action when we get up there on Saturday, the 27th. We'll have our club outing at Lizard Creek on the 24th. That'll be at the Asheville Playground. We've done that not this past year, the year before. A lot of people caught. Seemed to be a very good place to go. Lots of room to spread out and fish and catch. For May, we have the Broadhead. We'll meet at the Broadhead Creek Park. Again, there you can spread out. There's a lot of good area to fish there. I am in the midst of putting June, July, and August together. I'm going to get some warm water fishing sites together. Dave Wermuth had forwarded me some information for the Susquehanna. I was saying about also the Delaware Water Gap. I'm looking for one other place to round out the summer. I had intended on getting us up to the Kettle Creek. I put that out on Facebook. Unfortunately, the lodge had overbooked us and made those dates not usable. And I'm putting together, I have feelers out right now. I haven't gotten confirmation back from 3 other sites, but I'm going to try to get the same weekend of around June 11th and 12th right in that area, and see if I can still get something together for us for that. I'll get that out on Facebook and see if we can do an email blast. Sheldon, you can do that for me, right?
What's that? The email blast? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Once I get that firmed up, I'll get the information out to you, and we can do an email blast as well.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. All right. So this rolls into a program I think is something that we need and why people join fly fishing organizations to begin with. Bill, would you like to go over the mentorship program?
Did you say would I or you?
You.
Yeah, sure. To get our new members who have little experience fly fishing, or even some beginner fly fishermen, we're getting together a mentorship program, and my concept is to be available. If they were to contact me and say, you know what, I'd like to tie some knots. You know what, I'd like to practice casting. I wouldn't meet with them on a Saturday. That's not a problem. I think I have not had one person volunteer to be a mentor. I know, Bill Fretz, you said you were in.
Yes,
But,
sir.
and I haven't had one person who wants to be mentored or has responded to. I haven't gotten a single response from any of my messages. I am hoping that I can be more convincing when we get back to live meetings, and certainly the trips. I'm hoping that it picks up. But that's the way it is. It's a wonderful thing to teach someone to fly fish, and I remember my mentor well, and I'm not saying he was a good mentor, but he got me fly fishing. So it doesn't take much. We don't need a lot of skills to get these beginners going. and we don't have to be joined at the hip either. You meet on the stream, you set them up if you want. I mean, you can hang with them all day, but that's not the idea. Set them up, maybe help them pick out a couple flies, stick with them for a half an hour or so, and you're a mentor. Anything beyond that you want to do, that's up to you. But if you can commit to just a half an hour on the trips, to show up, to help a guy tie a knot, to help him rig up, whatever, send me an email and say you're interested, because right now it's me and Bill Fretz. That's all I've heard from. So if you have some skills you want to share, and you do have skills, don't sell yourself short. Please volunteer for this program, and I hope to make this a substantial part of the club within a year or two. We draw in new members. We offer them our expertise, if you will. But yeah, that's what I got, Jerry.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Someone wanted a question?
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, and as far as the mentor program goes, everybody has something to offer somebody new.
Okay.
And I think everybody has something to offer each other. It just isn't, for newbies, you fish with one another and feed off of one another and share the experience.
I'm sure this will start to pick up steam. So we'll, just keep putting it out there, and eventually we will. I think you hit the nail on the head. We're still in the lockdown mode, so
Absolutely.
So we'll just keep going. It's out there. Anybody that is looking for a mentor, just send out the information and send out your email information to Bill, and he'll take care of it from there. Okay. Next, just wanted to say the beginner's fly tying class was completed. I'm sure it was I've been told by many people it was a great success.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. My last one for the silver award is next week, which I had close to 80 people online on Zoom and about 250 people on Facebook every week following this. So it was a huge success, and I'm planning on more. And within another couple of weeks, I'll be putting out, not my specialty, but it'll be fly tying knots, and will be the fly fishing equipment that to get you started in fly fishing. And hopefully I can get part of the stream wading techniques and everything, which is kind of difficult online to do, but I'm going to do my best to try and help people out there. I'd like to thank, we got a new sponsor, Joe, from Pro Flies Unlimited. He gave us a donation of $100 to sponsor, to put his fly shop online. We've gotten new members, Dan Weaver, Harry Zickler, Brad Shropshire, George Fallon, and Greg Little. Thank you for coming on board. And we'd like to thank Tom Dempsey for donating $50 to the club. We appreciate that. Thank you so much, everybody. You all know that I'm a major player at the Fly Fishers International. I'm a fly tying chairman there. But we lost 2020, our Fly Fishing Expo, which is a major teaching event and get together that was supposed to happen in Bozeman, which ended up canceling the brick and mortar show in 2021. And now, with our expertise on online, we've had enough people we're developing a virtual fly fishing expo for the November 5, 6, and 7th, where vendors are going to be there showcasing their products, and different rooms. We're having over 300 rooms per day where people can visit our vendors, our fly casting workshops, fly tying workshops. They're all going to be done in November 5th and 7th are your major workshops, and the 6th is your major vendors. So I'm on that committee, and it's an aggressive schedule. So please be patient with me if you're going to keep asking me to log you into a Zoom meeting when I don't have the time anymore. So with that, I'm going to introduce. Well, first I should ask anybody. I'm going to stop sharing first. Let me introduce Rick. Rick is from Penn Creek. He's from Blue Sky Outfitters, and he's going to go over Penn Creek, the hatch factory, and he's going to go over the hatches, fishing techniques, different sections to fish, flies that work on Penn Creek. And Blue Sky Outfitters is a leading fly fishing guide service in PA since 1999. Guides on the best streams in Pennsylvania: Penn Creek, Spring Creek, Big Fishing Creek, Pine Creek, Kettle Creek, Slate Run, Cedar Run. It's got water, he's on it. So bass, even in the Susquehanna, all over. I'm glad that I could actually call Rick one of my friends. I've gotten many times to fish with him. We've had nothing but fun. We meet at all the fly fishing expos, and we just have a blast. So just going to ask one more time, any questions before I turn this over to Rick? No questions. I'm going to take the spotlight off of me and turn it over to, there we go. Rick, you're in charge.
Can you see it?
Yes, I could see you.
No, not me.
No, you got to share it. Hit the share
Oh,
button.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Now you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate you having me. I have two screens here, so if I'm not looking directly into the camera, I'm looking at the bigger screen to my left. So I'm going to go over Penn Creek, the hatch factory. I appreciate you having me. I have two screens here. So if I'm not looking directly. Can everybody mute?
Yeah, it's my problem.
All right. So anyway, about me, yeah, I'm owner of Sky Blue Outfitters. I started it back in '99 as my future retirement job, and I'm now doing it full time. Been fly fishing for well over 40 years. Been guiding for over 20. I'm known for my CDC dry fly patterns and fishing. I like to teach dry fly fishing. And, of course, I do destination trips all around the country now. I have more time. I'm taking two groups to Montana. We were supposed to go to Labrador last year, then this year. Now we're going next year. We pushed that trip 2 years. So I'm going to be up on the Delaware in 2 weeks with some clients. So I'm all over the place as far as guiding goes. We're running a trip to the Outer Banks for a big drum like that. So that's in September. My staff, I have Taylor Helbig. He's like our nymphing guru. And then Dave Allball, he's our wet fly. You know, he's known for his wet fly techniques and patterns. And, of course, Dave Rothrock, he can do anything and everything. And then Brian Shoemaker, he does drift boat trips on the Juniata and the Susquehanna. So he runs those trips. So if you have any questions, there are no dumb questions. Only dumb answers. I just give stupid answers. What I'm going to go over is the layout of the creek, the run of the creek, the equipment, what I like to use, just touch on that. Of course, the hatches, what type of dry flies I like to use, setups, how you can do, and, certain fishing techniques to help you get more fish. Drifting for more fish is part of that. and then I have videos splattered throughout. A fairly well-known person, and I don't want to say their name, and we were emailing back and forth. I asked him about pens. Has he been out there? And this is what he said. I don't know if I've ever seen so many good hatches overlapping at one time with so many fish all over the place, keying on different ones. I never went back. And this gentleman's in his late 40s, and he only went there once. He said it was the greatest hatches he saw, but he got frustrated and didn't go back. But the hatches on pens can be amazing, and it's just like any other creek. You could have a hatch like that, and you could have a tough time catching fish. It just happens. Just to give you an idea how thick the hatch can be, this is the Granum and Hendrickson hatch in April. So that's how heavy the hatches can be there throughout the year. And the fish there are very, very big. There's a lot of big fish in Penn's Creek throughout the whole system. Okay? So one thing you got to be is patient, willing to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. So you really have to be patient on pens, and you really have to, put your time in. But if you're persistent, you will catch really nice fish like this. So, and sometimes so good you need to bring 2 nets. So sometimes it gets really good. Again. So, here early April, I start guiding out there April 1st. You can catch fish like this on Hendrickson Dries in that creek. And, the fish are beautiful there. And some of the fish are really big. I'll show you a picture later on. And then you can catch some small brook trout. I actually caught a small brook trout when I was bringing it in as it was swimming around. Because I was bringing it in, a big brown came up and tried to eat it. So, stuff like that happens. And the fish are beautiful, of course. And they're just big heads on them, big shoulders. You can just see what it's like. Now, as far as the creek goes, it's a long creek. It's, runs from Penn's Cave all the way down, down to the, down past Weichert where you can fish. And the water's big. It can get, intimidating. And it can be tough to wade, too. It's not the easiest place. I like to fish it when it's running at 300 or below. It'll flood out really quick. But you'll see a lot of wildlife there. We had actually a mother bear chase her 2 cubs up the trees because we were there. And you come across, stuff you normally don't see, like a skink. So. It has the mighty green drake hatch, so a lot of people like to go target that. I go to the Delaware because I don't want to put up with the crowds on Penn. So. But it has nice deep runs where you can Euro nymph and nymph right through them, or hunt heads with dry flies. And it has some really long, deep pools. That's over your head. If you tried to walk across there, it would be over your head. So, and then it has really nice riffly spots like this, which I enjoy nymphing, have the clients nymph, I nymph. I love working all that water, all those little nooks and crannies. So, and it has some decent pocket water, what I call pocket water. If you've ever been up to the West Branch or the Sable up in Lake Placid, that's pocket water to me, but it has some pocket water. One thing you don't want to do when you're on pens is don't walk by the little slow runs. A split off where it makes a small island and, the water comes back in. In the spring, when the water's up and the fish have moved out of their deep holes, they will go up those little side runs. So don't ever pass them by. But you can see this is down in catch and release area. The scenery is really beautiful. I mean, there's really no cabins or anything down in catch and release above Cherry Run. So the major creeks that feed Penn, of course, Elk Creek, Pine Creek, Poe, Muddy, Swift Run, Cherry Run, and then Wiker Creek. A lot of them are limestone. So, they're giving a good cold influence to the creek. Now, the creek starts in Penn's Cave. It actually boils up and comes out of Penn's Cave. So that really cold green limestone water starts Penn's Creek. So it flows down towards Coburn, and that's where elk and pine will come in and give it another charge and volume. So don't always think of fishing below Coburn. Fish up in here too. There's nice sized fish throughout the whole season. So, and the creek then flows down through Poe-Patty State Park, and then you hit the catch and release area, and that goes all the way down. Now they extended that 2.5 miles, and I'll show that. So, at the top here, Penn's comes in. Here's Coburn. You go to the Feathered Hook, or, this is all good fishing up here. The creek's smaller, and they do some stocking up in there. But there's big wild fish up there, and that was taken above Coburn. I mean, that fish there. They're there. As you get below Coburn, I like fishing down in through here, and then you can hit Ingleby. There's a lot of trails you can walk through the woods, so you can get away. A lot of times where I go or take clients, we'll walk 2 miles and fish our way back to the car all day. So that's how I like to fish Penns. And then you have Ingleby Road here to get into the Ingleby area. I don't fish this area that much. I do fish back in this area. So, and again, that's right below the walk bridge at the Coburn parking lot, with the old railroad tunnel. So that's the water down there. It's a little low. This was in June, but we had dry fly action middle of the day. Now, the catch and release stretch is my favorite stretch, and I've been fishing it for 40 years. And I fished that, down below Poe-Patty, the catch and release starts, and then it goes all the way down to where Cherry Run Creek, actually below there. Well, now, this is Winter's Cabin, if you know where that is. If you walked up the trail here, you'd walk by the Fish Commission's cabin, the Winter Cabin. So, I'll park down in this area and hike up in here and fish our way back. So that's what I like to do. And the water down there is gorgeous pocket water, heavy ripple water, deep pools, side runs. There's a lot of character to the water down there. Now, what they did was they extended the catch and release area down through where the cabins are, downstream 3 miles. So now it's like 7.5 miles of catch and release water. And the big fish, there's big fish down there. You just got to know how to get them in. Hooking them is usually not that big of a problem, but after you hook them, that's when the problem comes in. So, the whole new catch and release section has been added here. And then they stock down in this area here at the Gun Club and all the way down through there. So it's nice that they did that. The upper stretch, they put in a harvesting slot limit. That I have seen, they did that a couple years ago. And up there at Coburn, I have seen the size of the fish grow because they're not keeping the big ones and they're not keeping the real small ones. So it's improved the fishery up there. And all these fish you see, these are from Penn's Creek. And Penns can get very, very low. This was the one fall we were out there, and it was a drought, and it was really, really low. The fishing, it was tough. I mean, they were just so spooked. They were so low and clear. We had to really stay away and do soft landings with nymphs. We were spooking them. I mentioned earlier how the creek it will come up fast. I've been out there where we're fishing and a thunderstorm goes through a couple miles above, and next thing you know, half hour later, it's high and muddy. But don't be discouraged by that. Get out your streamer box. There's a lot of good streamer fishing when the water's on the rise. When the water's dropping, it really dies off. But when the water's on the rise, you want to go there and fish. So now, what I like to use as far as equipment, I like a 9-foot 4-weight rod. I like a lighter rod, a 4-weight. I use a 6-weight in the ocean. I've caught big muskies on a 6-weight. I use a 6-weight a lot. I just like playing the fish on lighter equipment. So, and I always use a weighted forward line. And then leaders, I think people get tied up in too long of leaders. I'm a short leader guy. I do a 7.5 or 9 foot to throw dry flies and tip it 3x to 5x. I do not go to 6x and 7x at all down there in Penn. You're going to break fish off. It's just not going to happen for you. So if you do get into one of the big ones, you're not going to get them in. They'll break you off. So one thing you got to have is confidence when you're down there fishing. Just go after it. Now the hatches that occur, as you can see again, this slide, how heavy that was. This is 10 in the morning in May, and look at the hatches. And we did have fish working that day. So, but the season starts out with the little black stoneflies right now, the granums and the Hendricksons, very, very heavy hatch. Generally, I'll go there around noonish in April, and then we'll hit Spring Creek or big fishing, then go down to Penn's for the afternoon Hendrickson hatch because it can be epic. And then, of course, you get your green and tan caddis, and then your quill Gordons and your Cahills. Then the March Browns start. That's one of my favorite times because the sulfurs have started. The March Browns are coming off. They're spinners. The gray foxes are around. Blue-wing olives will be active if the weather is right. So there's a lot of bug activity. The big thing is finding out what they're feeding on. Not necessarily dries because you can see that, but if you're nymphing, you got to switch your flies up a lot. So of course the blue-wing olives, black quills, that's what you see there. That's a black quill. Of course the green drake, slate drake, Isonychias, and then midges throughout the years. I don't think I ever saw a fish eat a midge yet. So, but again, the little black stonefly, the granums, shake that tree limb, see what's going on. Good nymphing if you're out there in April and the granums are around. Just nymph. I don't see them really come up on the egg layers. They just don't do it. But they definitely do. But again, here's a video. This is in mid-April, I think it was. You can see the nice green color to the water. But you can see out there all the rocks. There's all those little nooks and crannies that you can nymph around. If you like the Euro nymph and the water's at a good level, it's paradise. So, the Hendrickson and the red quill, that's another one of my favorite hatches, only because it's the first big mayfly that starts to come off. And the big fish will come up. They're coming up. They're looking for food. They had a long winter. Sometimes the fish you catch in April, they're a little skinny because they've been, fighting high water and not eating as much. But, they fatten up quick. The red quill, spinners, and this is what you can find. I mean, that was taken on a dry fly late in the day. There was Hendrickson spinners around. And we saw him rise on the far shore, and he threw to him and got that 18, 19 incher. So again, the caddis, tan and green, and make sure you use nymphs there. The caddis nymphs. It's loaded with bugs, all different types. So, and then of course the March Brown. Again, that's one of my favorite hatches. The gray fox. And, you get spinners. I got lucky enough to get a picture of the shuck left behind from the molt. Spinners again. And here's an egg. If you ever had a close-up of an egg, you can see all the little dots there. They are little eggs. So that egg might contain, I don't know, a couple hundred little eggs for it to land down there. And of course, you always have the spinners, right? And it can get very frustrating down there. I was taking video of these spinners. They were just everywhere. Guess what? They didn't come down, but they do land on the water. I used to get really anal about making sure my wings would be out on my spinners. And I show this picture and say, look how the wings are back. So I never got concerned about that anymore if my wings were, going back. So, the sulfur hatch, that's a great hatch. And then the blue-wing olives, when they come off, it can be disgusting. And they feed heavy. And then there's the green drake. And when the word gets out, what happens? This is what it ends up looking like, right? So this isn't Penn's. That's just a picture I hijacked. But the green drake. And my tombstone's going to say, I hate the drake. And that's why I hate the drake, just because of all the people. But I've been out there in May, second and third week, and the green drake comes off early, and nobody's around. Well, not nobody, but not like the crowds you have with the green drake. And just trying to hit that hatch, it moves up the creek, so it starts downstream and starts moving upstream, towards Coburn, from Weichert up to Coburn, and it could be a real heavy hatch down at catch and release. Next day, you don't see a one because it's moving upstream. So it's, one of those things you got to be lucky. But generally, the hatch will move through. It's a 3 to 5 day period. But, the green drake it's a beautiful fly. Like I said, I go up to the Delaware for the drakes. I enjoy it more up there. So. And of course, you'd have your spinners. And again, I got lucky enough to get the mulch shot. So. But you can see here the coffin flies. This is out there. This was 10 in the morning, and the coffin flies, spinners, the green drake spinners were going up and down. And I was guiding clients, and we had a fish work here, fish work there, and we were throwing on them, and they were picking them off. There was green drake duns coming off, and plus there were spinners on the water. So it was, we had a good morning. So, of course, the coffin fly. And then stoneflies. It's loaded with stoneflies. If you're going to nymph and search, I search with a stonefly a lot out there. And you'll get bigger fish because it's bigger food. I just go generally with yellow, a golden stone pattern, and then I tag something off also, another nymph. But searching with a stonefly, midday, 2 in the afternoon, high sun, just go search those deeper pockets and shade areas with a stonefly nymph. But I've been there when the stoneflies hatch and the fish just blow up on them. And it only lasts about 45 minutes to an hour, but you can pick up these big fish. So. And of course, you want to look on the rocks, and see what's going on. Here's an orange yellow type stonefly. I got a really good picture of it. Landed on my windshield, and that's what you're going to see. That's what the trout's seeing. So. And what you want to do is look in the grass, see if they're in the grass, so then they're around. The nymphs are active. So, and of course the Isonychia and the fall apple caddis. And one thing you don't want to overlook when you're fishing down there or anywhere is the ant. When I run into a fish that's just feeding away, and you give him all these offerings, I put an ant on. And the majority of the time, they will take that ant. It's just something that they eat on a regular basis, especially if you have a little rain that day or you have some wind that day, they're in the water. So it's always good to have ant patterns with you. And I'll sink ants. I will actually take an ant dry, and I use parachutes. So I'll cut the post off, and I'll sink it like I'm nymphing. So the ants work. So anyway, let's talk about flies to use. Choosing a fly is a lot like the NFL. Was it a catch or wasn't it? I mean, who knows? So I change up flies. If I don't get any action in 20 minutes, I'm changing up and I'm changing up. You know, the one thing about tying flies, and Gary knows this too, you want to be creative. You know, you want to show them something different. You know, if 50 guys were fishing there that week and they were all using a pheasant tail, you know, show them something different. Tie flies and get creative. And one of the things I like to do, I tie a lot with CDC, and I like to have a high wing. And the reason I like to have that high wing, people say, wow, you tie them high. And there's a reason for that. If the fish is looking up here, okay, he's looking for this plummet, what I call plummet of the wings down to the body. So I like to exaggerate that. I think that's one of the first thing he sees. Then he sees the horizontal of the body, okay? So I think that's a trigger mechanism for him, and I've been very successful using flies like this with very high wings. So so I just have a feeling that they're seeing this, right? That trigger of the plunge going down. And then the other thing I think that triggers is contrast. And I like to exaggerate contrast. It's just something I like to do, and I found it to work pretty good. And I call this the super emerger. It's just something I played around with. I have the trailing shuck, and then it's not totally hatched, so you're going to have a different color here. And then I have a forward shuck where the March Brown's breaking out of, and then I have the dun wing up here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors going on. And if you think about it in nature, that's what the color scheme is going to be. It's going to be darker and lighter and lighter and darker. And that pattern really works. It's a nice high floater. If it lays on its side, who cares? The fish will still eat it. You know, it's a mayfly, you know, trying to emerge. So, and then your typical stonefly stimulator. I always looked at these and said, you know, that just doesn't look like a stonefly. So I started playing around and I came up with this pattern here. I have CDC here, and I have my wing material here and here, and that all helps it to float. And if you look, I mean, what looks more realistic here? So again, you know, I looked at this and said, you know what, I want to do this. And then I wanted some contrast